Sorry about the sitting here looking pretty or stupid or whatever you want to call it here. I'm waiting for the go and I'm being heard go, and apparently it's hearing mumbles, and we don't need to get into all the stuff I'm hearing. But what we do need to get into here is welcome back, everybody. We are back. This is some Bay City Chronicles. You may notice a couple of different things here. Number one, correct me if I'm wrong, but do we have the sixth person out with an X on the screen? Anyway, you might notice we're missing an Orchestra. I know. This is not a surprise to most people that we're missing an Orchestra. But we're going to make it up because we've increased the ranks a little bit. So before we get into all of that, before we get into all the introductions, this is going to be the Volume 5 premiere of Bay City Chronicles. Volume 5 is entitled Sanctuary City. Issue 1, which is where we are, this is issue 1, Picking Up the Pieces. So we'll get into the whole dramatics and all that in a minute, but first, you guys got a cast here, and we probably should introduce them, right? So, first things first, we have, he's definitely totally not a furry, Dark Falls. Possibly may be a furry, Crimson Avex.
What?
Definitely a furry, OPT Lawyer. And we have our resident artist, Chameleon Ice.
I consider myself an anthropomorphic enthusiast, sir.
Furry is easier to say.
Fewer souls.
Also has different connotations, but yes. Also has different connotations, but you're right.
Yes. Also, I am your host, TGE. Thank you all very much for sticking with us here. As I mentioned, this is going to be, not a cough, this is going to be Volume 5, Sanctuary City, Issue 1, Picking Up the Pieces. So there's going to be a couple of things, we're going to do some housekeeping things of note. Before we get into it, I'll sort of let you guys know the big things that you've come to sort of learn in the 3 months that have happened since you got back from the future. But first things first. Again, we're doing comic books here. So what does every comic book mean? What's the first thing you see in every comic book? The cover, right? So we're going to start doing some cover art here. So Volume 5, Issue 1, on the cover is split into basically 4 equal parts. And each one of these 4 parts has some cover art on it. Up in the upper left-hand corner, you see Malkier standing on a rooftop overlooking Bay City, just sort of scanning throughout the city. Phantasm's katana sort of on his back, just sort of surveying the city, looking out over it, with just sort of this look of contemplation on his face. Then we move to the upper right-hand panel, and there is somebody who we have never seen before, standing in an office, which we have seen before. The office belongs, of course, to Dr. Casey. And it looks like this individual is walking in for some sort of talk with Dr. Casey. Down in the bottom left corner, we see the outside of the Stormbreaker Technologies building. And standing outside the building, looking almost like they're trying to build up the confidence to go into the building itself, is a 3-foot-tall squirrel. And finally, in the lower right panel, we see a zoom-in of Lutra's room in the barracks. There are cans, like there are coffee containers, there are energy drink cans. There is everything just strewn everywhere. Papers are everywhere. Lutra looks disheveled. You know, the sort of like the I've been cramming for a test all night look. Furiously scribbling something down on a paper with a pile of discarded papers next to him. And one of them is sort of unfolded, and it looks like it's musical score of some sort. So with that, welcome everybody to, again, issue 1 of Volume 5. As we open the page, we get a nice 2-page spread that sort of expands on that opening cover page. It gives sort of each person a half page to sort of expand and sort of draw out the evocations of what we're seeing here. So a couple of the bigger things to note. Everything that happened in 2008 prior to jumping to 2023 and anything that directly related to the 2023 stuff, all of that stuff, the 2023 stuff never happened. But all the stuff that happened previous to that, specifically water skiing, all of that did happen. Everyone knows about that. So that all happened. The robot invasion, that happened. So those things all happened. The big thing of note, other things that have sort of happened that you guys don't remember, but have sort of been part of the city now for a while. There are weather and traffic drones that are flying around that sort of keep everyone abreast of the weather, the traffic, and all that. And they are run by the biggest sort of corporation in Bay City, and that is Viridian Incorporated. They are in the tallest building in the city, and these weather and traffic drones are just a fixture everywhere. And if you take the time to study them, you know they fly on the same pattern every day. So for those superheroes who fly or use the air, you know where to find them at all times. The other big set of rumblings is we are now in 2009, and we are coming up to the inauguration of the president-elect Andrew Vernon. Now, Andrew Vernon is a name that some of you might remember, as he was the former CEO and president of Gendyne, which was the weapons and technology division of General Dynamics. So that is sort of the pertinent need-to-know information. So with that, before we all got started, I took the time and I licked an envelope, put a stamp on it, sealed it with a kiss, and sent you guys some love letters. So we're going to take the time to see exactly how much and why I love you guys. So who wants to volunteer to go first?
I burned mine.
Thankfully, I have a digital backup, so you can still have to read it anyway.
I'll go first since the baby's not quite asleep yet.
Alrighty. Malkier, go ahead.
Alright, Malkier. It's been 3 months since you returned home. 3 months since you could return to your quest. 3 months to hunt down the people who took everything from you. There have been a trail of bodies in your wake, not that anyone can pin them on you, but there they are. And every time you think you're getting closer to the end of your mission, more people start to surface. The problem with more people is more bodies, and eventually that kind of thing can catch up with a man. Much to your dismay, you have had to slow down on your revenge tour for the past month, lest you draw unwanted, unnecessary attention to yourself, your mission, and your allies. Not that you ever need your allies, they were just a distraction from your true goal. But if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be continuing on this mission now, and you wouldn't be using this katana. As much as you would love to continue hunting down mooks, you know that this dragon has to have a head, and you need to find it. The last guy you found, he gave you some information in return for staying alive. He hinted that there may be more to the President-elect Andrew Vernon than meets the eye. You know that he is trying to put into place programs that will be restrictive on mutants and metahumans, and you also know that getting to him will be tough. Out of options for the moment, you have reluctantly returned to Bay City to seek assistance from the one person you know with connections to maybe get you somewhere close.
Lutra, you seem to be an excellent candidate for next.
Okay. Dear Lutra, it's been 3 months since everything changed. 3 months since you saved the world. 3 months since you lost your friend. Sure, Hunter is in a normal body, but that still doesn't change the fact that there's a massive hole in your heart. Especially since no one outside of you, Malkier, and Anton seems to even know that Gale existed at all. With both Malkier and Anton gone, you have been diving into your music, learning to play, learning to write it, and you have been trying to honor your friend with a song, but it has been slow going. But you need to do it. So, after your experience with coffee in the future, you know that supplements exist to keep you going. At first, coffee was doing its job. This normally does. But the more and more you forced it, the less and less effective it became. So you began searching out other methods. Eventually, you found one. It was an energy drink, going around the docks you used to work at. And did it ever give you a jolt? Your reflexes became laser focused, and it seemed like the world was standing still. With this new source of energy, you are bound to be able to honor your friend. But even though something still bothers you, you have been getting stranger and stranger looks when you do go outside. And you're hearing rumors about a new president, some guy named Andrew Vernon. You swear you've heard that name before, but you can't seem to remember where. Not that it matters right now, because you finally have the means to honor your friend.
Alrighty.
And yes, I actually printed that out because it's easier to read.
No, fair enough. So which one of our two new faces would like to go next? Our little squirrel or our imposing man?
I can give it a run.
Alrighty, go ahead.
Alrighty. Dear Kestrel, life has been interesting to say the least for you, especially since the accidents, both of them. Every now and then you still wake up in the middle of the night. The heat of the fires still feels as real as it did on each of those fateful days. But now, things are simpler. You have a quiet life, and a neighborhood that you keep safe. Which is why you are starting to get concerned. While out ensuring the safety of your little piece of heaven, you begin to hear rumors about wars and regulations, and people are all up in arms about the new president-elect, Andrew Vernon. Rumor is that he dislikes the fact that Bay City is a sanctuary city for metas, and that his first order of business is to take care of that listing. Normally, these worries of the human world wouldn't be of any bother to you, but this one runs deeper than that. This one feels more like what Bobby would want you to stand up for. But therein lies the problem. You have no idea how you should do that, especially not after what happened the last time you went it alone. It is because of that you find yourself where you are now, at the foot of the Stormbreaker Technologies building. You've heard from your furry friends that another like you frequents this place, and you are hoping that maybe, just maybe, they can help you live up to the memory that haunts you.
Alrighty, and finally, that leaves our last person.
Dear Mr. Pontius, as you hang up the phone, a look of hesitation crosses your face. You were hoping not have to travel so early in the administration, but alas, you can't control the job that you have to do. As you grab your go bag, you make sure that you have all the essentials that you'll need. Boarding the plane, you're at least excited that they sprung for first class, as these things tend to get a little cramped. But alas, you have a 3-hour flight in which you need to prepare your notes for the upcoming meeting. You are here in Bay City as part of your job. You are representing Senator Stanley Harris and the CRA, or Cape Registration Act. You are here to start laying the foundations for how the registrations are going to be implemented. As such, you are here meeting with Dr. Thomas Casey, the most prominent figure in Bay City with ties to meta-human teams. As the elevator dings up to the top floors of the tower, you are met by an empty living space and a 12-year-old child. The child smiles at you and introduces himself as Hunter, and ushers you into Dr. Casey's office.
All right, so now we have the groundwork for where, what, who, when, what, and how everything is going to be going on. So we're going to start off with the individual scenes here and make our way around. So it makes the most sense to me for the first scene to actually be with Kestrel. Because everyone else sort of has their own individual thing, so this sort of makes the most sense. So, Kestrel, you are at the foot of the Stormbreaker Technology building. You feel free to describe what's around you on the streets, how things smell and all that, and go ahead and describe what you're doing and what's happening.
All right. In terms of what I see out there, I imagine that you might know better than I would. But Kestrel's just out there in the front of the door. He's kind of pacing back and forth just a little bit, kind of trying to think, like, is this the right choice to make? Is this the right thing to do? And, like, he kind of reaches up for the doorbell. He stops himself because he can't reach it.
Well, it is an office, so the door opens right up to walk into the office building.
Oh, well, that's nice of it. Well, good. Then no worry about the doorbell. After a bit of hesitation, he does eventually walk himself in there, kind of adjusts his satchel and his scarf, puffs his chest out a little bit and tries to look confident, and steps into the front door and looks around to see if there's anybody there, like secretarial-wise.
So this is sort of like the main, just sort of, hub of a typical office building. There's a couple of people walking around, no one that looks like it's a secretary, but up on the wall, you do see the large, panel saying what floor is what and all that. and you have to look. You have to really crane your neck to look because it's up all on the top floor. It's office, Dr. Thomas Casey, President, Stormbreaker Technologies.
Curious. For the floors, is it all cut off like by actual ceilings, or is it one of those kind of office buildings where there's like big open spaces? You can like see the top floor from the bottom.
You can see to a point. Basically, if you look on the Roll20, you see where those fins flare out and stop on the building. So basically, where those fins flare out, that is a floor. So up to that point, you can see up in like sort of the atrium because you just have those sort of things. But once you get up there, you do have to take either stairs or an elevator to get past a certain point.
Gotcha. Well, not being a big fan of elevators,
There are stairs.
There are stairs. I think Kestrel's going to take the stairs and just kind of fly up them to get to as far as the floor as he can.
You definitely. So we get to the comic panel of just this brown blur just zooming upstairs, and you definitely get like the one comic panel of like the properly dressed businesswoman like in the skirt and the wind just blowing it up and her just holding it down, like Marilyn Monroe style on the vent. You definitely get a little bit of that, but there's you run by another lab tech, and you're running by him so fast you spin around. There's papers flying everywhere, and you just get a little comic bubble of just like all the different letters and symbols of just the swearing. So it's a pretty comical run up the stairs. But halfway through, there's a treasure chest with an elixir. No, wrong game.
Why did it have to be stairs?
But it doesn't take you long at all to get up the however many flights of stairs it is, because, well, you used to be Zipper.
The supersonic squirrel. But yeah, I could probably reach that before the door closes after I opened it, I imagine.
Yes, pretty much. So you make your way up to this sort of top floor, and there's a door. It's very nondescript, doesn't say really much.
Alrighty, well, I'm just going to kind of open that up and just kind of walk in and see this is where the man himself is.
Well, yes and no, because you open the door, and you're at the far end of a hallway. And it's not exactly what you were expecting, with it saying, the office of this huge, of Dr. Thomas Casey and all that. It's a hallway, and it has a distinct smell to it in here. And as an animal, as a squirrel specifically, you definitely get the smell. This smells very lived in. It smells more like a home and less like an office. Like, you can pick up faint smells of, what was cooking for breakfast. You're pretty sure that the couch cushions need to be washed. And, well, go ahead and give me a perception check with your senses.
Roger that. Not sure if I roll anything special for that or not, but...
Just perception.
Roger that. Perception.
Oh, absolutely. You not only know what they made for dinner today, you know what was made for dinner over the past week and a half. But the big thing that catches your mind, or catches your nose, really, is it's definitely some sort of animal. You're not entirely sure what, because you're getting a combination of raspberry, leather, and animal fur.
Raspberry?
Yes, raspberry. I'm not going to say leather, but raspberry sort of clothing material,
right,
and fur.
Gotcha. So raspberry, spandex, and fur. Gotcha.
Pretty much.
All right. Huh.
And suddenly somebody just came off the top rope somewhere.
I've heard tale though, of like a creature living here that's like me, so I shouldn't be too surprised at this. But
no, the fur definitely not. It's the raspberry and sort of like leather coaty material that's a little weird.
Yeah,
specifically the raspberry
especially. But okay, I'm gonna see if I can follow that scent, at least see if I can find some people
Well, you definitely follow that scent, and it brings you to what everyone we've all seen as the barracks section. And most of it's your typical barracks. There is the couch, the TV. It's exactly like we've described before. I don't need to get into too much detail there, but there's what appear to be 3 bedrooms open. 2 of them look like they still have some people stuff in. One just looks like it's waiting for someone to be used, and then 1 door is closed. And even though the door is closed and pretty well sealed, you know that that's where the smell is coming from.
Yeah, my curiosity is too high. I'm gonna go over there and give the door a quick rap.
You rap on the door, and you get no response, no answer. Nothing happens.
Can I hear anything on the other side of it?
No.
Odd. I don't want to go barging into a room, especially when I'm trying to make a first impression here. But there are other open doors though around here, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anybody present in any of them?
Not that you can see.
And there's no other office space here or anything that might lead to somebody else?
Not in the current barracks section, nope.
Odd. Well, I think I'm gonna try the door handle on the raspberry scented door of all things.
There's no door handle. It's one of those sliding ones that it's specially coded for the person whose room it is.
Oh, okay. I got no chance of that.
No, not at all.
No. Okay. So not gonna try to bust into there. That'd be kind of rude anyway. Is there another set of stairs to go further up? See if I can get to the top office.
Well, you look around and you definitely, you see a set of stairs. You see a hallway that leads to a set of stairs. You get to the stairs, and the stairs go up. And there are 2 options you have at this point with the stairs. You can go all the way up the stairs, which has a sign that says roof access, or there's another set of stairs just leads off somewhere that doesn't have a sign to it, but obviously doesn't lead to anywhere inside the building.
Obviously, it doesn't lead to anywhere inside the building.
Oh, no, it does. It's not labeled as to where it is.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I'll try the one that I don't know, since I'm pretty sure the office isn't going to be on the roof.
Alrighty. So you make your way into down into the hallway, and this one looks more like it's leading somewhere because you walk in and you walk down, and there's pretty much only one door. Have you ever played Fester's Quest?
No, I have not actually. I know what it is. But...
Well, when you walk into the mansions in this game, you just keep going down a hallway, and then there's like one door at the far end, and it's really creepy and disconcerting.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite creepy and disconcerting, but there's one door at the far end.
Just a single lone door.
And it says,
ominous.
Dr. T. Casey.
Oh, not as ominous. Okay. Well, good. I found the man. I'll zoom up there and I'll give that door a knocking, hopefully with some better luck.
You over speaker. Hello?
Yes, hello there. You're Dr. Casey, right? The guy who owns this building?
Yes. How
Great.
did you get up here?
I
be locked.
I apparently didn't see many locks, so you might want to check on that.
You hear some furious typing.
In any case, I wanted to talk to you. There's a bit of a situation going on out in the city itself, and I kind of wanted to know maybe what you guys might be doing about that.
You hear boop, and the door opens, and we've described this office before, but it's big. It's kind of bare, almost panic room-like.
Wow. Not what I expected.
And sitting behind this huge desk Also, it's panic room-like, but you look over to one side, and there is a gigantic monitor. And sitting around behind this huge desk with, the Batman level of keyboard is, well, we've all seen the picture of Dr. Thomas Casey. He is, nice, sort of, he'll get aggressive if he has to, but for the most part, nice, laid back, very eccentric with his dress. Usually it's a full one-color suit outfit. Like the first time everyone else met him, he was in a flamingo pink suit. He's dialed it back a little bit today. He's not quite in the flamingo pink. He's just in sky blue. And I mean pants, suit jacket, shirt, bow tie. The entire ensemble is sky blue. Shoes, socks, everything.
Looks like he's getting ready for a wedding. Dr. Casey, I presume?
And... you're the IT squirrel I've heard about.
I wasn't where I had much of a title like that, but, yeah, sure, I'll take it. Castro, reporting for hellos.
And what brings you out of your lovely little hovel?
Well, not good reasons. The city's been kind of, well, I imagine you probably know what's going on in the news with, that Andrew Vernon fellow.
Oh, yes. I've got a meeting scheduled in about a half hour with one of his representatives.
So you are doing something. That's great.
Oh, not by... this meeting is not by choice. This meeting is... I have a very thin line I have to skirt. Well, let's just put it this way. I'm doing the meeting because I have to.
Well, let me just... go on.
Yep, please.
Let me just get this out of the way first. From what I've been able to tell, and from what the rumors have said, I'd like to at least confirm. Is this a building of heroes, or is it not?
It used to be.
What is it now?
A medical technologies, nanotechnology building that has some barracks that people may or may not use when they come back into town, if they ever do.
Wait, you mean none of them are here? The guys who were in the news?
You might find one of them hanging around, but he hardly ever comes out of his room anymore, and if he does, it's quick. I'm a little worried, but I've got so much else to do that he's a big boy. He can handle it. I hope. He says the "I hope" under his breath, but you can definitely hear it.
That's certainly a lot less hopeful than I expected walking into here. I kind of figured with the whole tensions raising in the city, like metahumans possibly being, put down, registered, like, who knows what's going to happen, that maybe this would kind of be a place of action.
As of right now, it's better that it isn't. As I said, I've got a meeting coming up. And if this was a hotbed of metahuman activity, it wouldn't look very good now, would it?
I see your point.
I apologize that I couldn't be of more help. Feel free to stay in the barracks section if you need to. I'm sure someone will show up at some point.
You've been a big help. And with that, Castro...
Also,
go on.
Be aware, you might randomly get hugged by one of two different smallish children. Just be aware.
Thank you for the warning. I'll make sure to stay on the ceiling.
That's not going to stop one of them. Unfortunately, when you infuse somebody with nanotech to save their life, it can have some interesting side effects. Whatever you do, don't stand near a sprinkler.
Duly noted.
Trust me, it took weeks to get the smell of wet otter out of here. I don't want to think about what wet squirrel's going to smell like.
Wet otter? So he's here?
This was months ago.
Oh,
Whether he's here right now, as I said, I don't know.
I see.
All right, we're going to scene shift now as we're finishing up with the scene in Dr. Casey's office. Malkir! What are you doing?
So, I'm assuming I've already arrived back into Bay City.
Yep, you are in Bay City. You can be wherever you want to be in the city.
Alright, so first of all, he'd probably be making his way towards the HQ building. Very cautious of who he runs into, sticking to the shadows, kind of like staying out of sight.
You haven't been seen in Bay City in 3 months, so no one's looking for you. So,
Oh yeah, but he's still trying to
yeah,
make sure
it's
that no
not. It is not that hard to stick to a very inconspicuous route, and you make it back to the tech building. Not a problem.
Okay, so using old passcodes, I'd make my way inside and probably head straight up to Casey's office while still kind of avoiding natural sight paths.
No, you go up. You basically go up the unknown service elevator. Ding! And it's been a while. You forgot how fast this thing is because this has 2 stops: the ground floor and the barracks. And it is whoosh. So even though you were used to it, it still has been a while. So the initial rush of speed still catches you a little off guard. Nothing too crazy, but just another reminder of what was once.
So arriving on Casey's floor, I would cautiously make my way towards where Casey was, assuming that Kestrel has already vacated the area.
Okay, actually, if I may, as Melchior gets off the elevator and kind of walks through the barracks to get to Dr. Casey's office, coming from that direction is Lutra, with his nose or muzzle buried in a book, and he's also carrying a second book with him. Melchior, do me a favor and roll the perception check real quick for me.
Well, Lucha would be the one person that Malker absolutely does not want to see for reasons. So he'd be especially on the lookout for him, as TG knows why I say that.
Yep. So you see Lutra, but the perception check is to notice a couple things. So go ahead and.
Okay, so
Hey, it's not single digits.
this is true. What you do notice is the book he's carrying. The book he's reading is titled Music Theory by some author that you've never heard of before. The other thing he's carrying is a spiral-bound, self-printed, just like book that you can tell is the flight instruction manual for the jet. And here's what happens as he walks, from there towards his room. The comic panels go like this. You see him looking apprehensive or whatever. He walks right past you and doesn't seem to notice you, as his muzzle is, as I said, buried in this book. And the next comic panel is he's like past you. He's in the foreground. You're in the background. And Lutra's muzzle kind of like does a sniff, like, and he kind of looks up and then looks behind him and he sees you. It's like, oh, hi, Malkir. Hi. I didn't expect to see you back here. How you doing?
And you can react however you want to.
Malker would kind of just turn his heel and head back towards the elevator and go back down.
Oh. Okay. Lucha shrugs and just goes into his room.
So the comic panel is going to be the next following. There's the ding of the elevator door shutting, the thunk of Lutra's bedroom door shutting, and the thunk of the stairs door opening as Kestrel walks out.
I definitely fly back down to the barracks and wait there a little hopefully.
Yep. So
I would give it like 5 minutes and go back out.
Yeah. So as you open and walk in a second time, you notice there's a 3-foot tall squirrel sitting on the couch, watching Animal Planet.
Well, I'm not at the barracks. I'm up at Casey's office.
Well, no, you have to walk by the elevator walks up to the barracks. You have to walk by the barracks to go up the stairs to get there. So you walk by it. He's happily watching TV, not actually paying attention to who's walking by.
Specifically, I'd be watching TV Land, thank you.
Okay.
So I would probably stay close to the wall to
Yeah.
go around
So
it
you-
if possible.
I see you make your way up to Thomas's office.
Okay, so I would just take my fist and just like rap really hard on the door.
He recognizes that and just opens the door, and the camera sees you. Not someone I was expecting to see back here anytime soon.
I'll make this quick. Andrew Vernon. I need information on his family.
And what makes you think I can get you close to the president-elect's family?
Casey, I'm not in the mood. I need information, and I know you have it.
I mean, what I know about Andrew Vernon is his wife died years ago of cancer. He has 2 children. Their names escape me right now. I think his son is Andy, and I want to say his daughter is Kiara. They are both estranged from their father and have been for a while.
Where are they?
Last I knew, Kiara was writing a dissertation on peaceful applications of some of the technology that was patented by Gendyne, which is interesting, but in complete opposition to what her father was trying to do. And Andy fell off the map years ago. Like, there has been no hide nor hair sign of him in a while.
What else does he care about if his family isn't around?
He cares about himself, his ego. This entire run for president was just to prove that he could do it so he could run his own agenda, which is why he looks at his watch. I have to deal with a meeting in about 10 minutes with one of his lackeys or something about this whole Cape Registration Act BS.
One of his men, you say?
A paper pusher type of deal, more here to see if the team has been active or something. I don't know. Not like we have anything to worry about. I mean, we haven't done anything in how long?
Well, you haven't done anything. Let's be basic here.
Are we up to triple digits yet?
Easily.
It's going to catch up to you. You know that.
Why do you think I'm looking for Vernon? And I know you know more information than you're holding out on me. You know I'm not the type of person to play with.
I know that. I also know that if I give you too much information, you're going to run right into a hornet's nest and get yourself killed.
I died a long time ago.
But is it really worth it to turn
to
this
finally be
man?
at peace? Yes.
I understand that, but ask yourself this. Is it worth assassinating him and turning him and his cause into a martyr, which will make all of our lives so much worse?
Oh, I didn't say I was going to assassinate him. He has information that I need. And I'm going to get that information whether you help me or not.
I may be able to put you in touch with someone who could get you closer than I could. Once this meeting I have to deal with is over, I'll put in a couple of phone calls.
Where can I hang low? I don't want to see the others.
He opens his desk drawer, pulls out a card, just throws it to you. It's an address down in the low rent district of the San Francisco side of Bay City. It's a safe house, just in case. You should be
So
okay.
I kind of catch up to my fingers and tuck it in my duster pocket. And just look at Casey one more time and just go, don't trifle with me. And just turn around and start walking out.
So now what we're going to do, assuming we have our fourth here, is the next comic panel is going to be Malkier sort of coming down, and Malkier walking in the shadow, sort of one direction at the front of the building, as Mr. Pontius sort of walks into the Stormbreaker Technology building. But meanwhile, while we're waiting for that to happen, I Love Lucy reruns are happening up in the barracks.
Woo! I love this episode. Seen like 50 times.
Oh, it's the Chocolate Factory episode.
Oh, it's the best one.
It really is.
I could do that so much faster than them.
So, Lutra, you are trying to focus on your songwriting, and you can hear the TV in the other room. And it's not something that either Hunter or Ben would be watching.
So it'll take Lutra about 20 to 30 minutes to notice enough to care. So at some point he finally kind of like opens his door, and the comic panel just sees him kind of peek outside his room and look towards the barracks.
Well, what you see is sitting on the couch is a 3-foot-tall squirrel. You have never seen this animal before in your life.
Right. So, here's the comic panels. The next comic panel is Lucha kind of looks, gives a shrug, and then closes the door. And then, next comic panel, the door opens again. He looks outside, he's like, he kind of tilts his head. It's like, wait. And he goes back in his room and closes the door again. And then, he opens his door back up again, looks out a third time, kind of shakes his head, looks again, and the cat walks out of his room, pads over, and kind of, I don't want to say sneaks up behind him, but kind of just walks up kind of behind him and just kind of looks down, and it takes him a few moments to finally say, how did a squirrel get in here? And my goodness, you're tall.
This, by the way, you definitely smell the raspberries and leather.
First, to be technical, he's 2.5 feet.
Oh, okay.
Second,
I was rounding up.
you were. It's understandable. But second, as Lutra kind of comes over there and like looks down at him, Kester will kind of like lean back, like nice and relaxed. He kind of look up and he'd see Lutra and go, "Oh!" And he like would immediately zoom around behind Lutra and like look at him from behind. They like zoom to the right, and, like look at him from one side to the other side. It's like, "Oh, it's you! Ah! Oh, fantastic!"
Lutra, give me a will save.
It's just like, it can talk!
It can talk!
Oh, God.
You are shaken as you're getting major flashbacks to Eric.
Oh, God. So, wow, okay. Stares at her like, okay,
So I gotta know, like, was it genetic experiments? Was it like an atomic power plant or a nuclear power? That was nuclear. What was it that like that made you you? So I'm so curious.
Cosmic radiation?
Cosmic radiation. That's a new one. Like, how does that happen?
What do you mean? How? I don't know. It happens. Who are you? Okay. I don't know who you are or how you can talk, but I came from space.
Oh, that is not what I expected.
Not sure what. Why would you expect anything? Who are you?
Right. I apologize. Hi, my name's Kestrel. I'm here because the city's kind of on fire socially, and I was looking for some actual heroes that are still around, and you're one of them.
Hmm?
Right?
Yeah, sure, I guess. City's on fire? Lucha immediately goes to a window and looks outside. I don't see any fire.
Oh, it's one of those social fires. I didn't mean literally.
What's a social fire?
How to say this, Joe? it means people are really hating each other, and there may be like rioting in the streets. You know,
I mean,
cats and dogs living together.
People hate each other all the time. I don't really pay attention.
Right, but this one's a little bit more directed. You've heard about the president elect, right? The guy who wants to like stop the metahuman sanctuary here. Like basically, it's war on metahumans. You and me, and probably the other guys who are here, or would be here.
Really don't know what you're talking about. Besides, I'm not human at all. I'm an otter. How can I be a metahuman if I'm not a human?
Well, it's a term they use. Like, I get it. I'm not human either. You know, it's one of those appropriated terms, but it still applies to us. Like, it's basically people who are not human. Like, they're gonna, like, it's gonna be bad. Just trust me.
Well, that's good. That's fine. Whatever. I'm not a people either. I'm an otter. So, yeah, whatever. People like me anyway.
They do. Absolutely. I've seen the videos.
Yeah, so is everyone else. Is there something I can actually help you with? Because I'm actually a little busy at the moment.
Well, I was kind of coming here because I was hoping you guys, like, you know, you guys are a team, right? Like, this is where a superhero team's supposed to be.
What team?
And there's a real...
Like, Melchior was just here and apparently just left, right? Whatever. And I haven't seen Anton since he left here, like, the day after we got... Never mind. So, yeah, no one's here except me. Dr. Casey and Hunter and Ben, and all the staff and whatnot. I mean, okay, there's a lot of people in the building, but as far as team goes, there's no team here. They may come back at some point. I don't know why Melchior was here and then just left, but he's busy with things, and I understand that.
Ketchel snaps his fingers like, I missed him. But, I mean, this is Bay City, and you guys are kind of the guys who have helped Bay City in the past. I mean, the robot attack. There aren't many other superhero groups that are around here.
Well, if it gets attacked by robots again, I'm sure we'll all be here to help the city. But right now, I don't see anything going wrong.
Well, you don't see it yet, but it's definitely a problem that's coming.
Okay, great. Well, when it comes, let me know. Lucha pats you on the head and starts walking towards his room. Tej, if you're trying to talk to us, we can't hear you.
Yes, Mike Tej.
I forgot I put myself on push to talk for a minute. So we're going to scene shift there because the 4-foot-tall otter patting the 2.5-foot-tall squirrel on top of the head is just an adorable scene to leave it on.
5-foot-tall otter.
You can't get our heights right.
That's okay.
That's kind of the joke.
I know.
So now we are back to the front of the building, and Mr. Pontius.
I walk up and hit the elevator button to go to the top floor. Obviously, having previous discussions with Casey about where it's located and how to get to it.
You make your way up there, not a problem. And as the love letter said, you are greeted by, well, we all know it's Hunter. Oh, hi, you must be who Dad's meeting with.
Yeah, that would be me. And I sort of glance around just to see what all is going on in the apartment, and really don't think I see anything out of the ordinary except maybe a book that is like singed all around the edges that is open to half-done Sudoku puzzle.
Yeah, that's still a relic in the corner there.
No one's picked it up.
Yeah, you don't notice the conversation going on between Lutra and Kessel at this time because they're kind of on the other side of the TV. So Hunter's like, yeah, sure, I can bring you right upstairs, and Dad's waiting for you.
Thank you, boy.
So he brings you up, shows you the office, and sort of does the whole, Dad, your appointment's here, and just sort of runs off and goes back to the barracks to see if Lutra is available, and doesn't notice Lutra, but notices a 2.5-foot-tall squirrel, and we'll go to that scene afterwards. But Mr. Pontius, you are ushered into Dr. Casey's office. He meets you at the door, shakes your hand. Pleasure to meet you, I suppose.
Yes, Mr. Casey. My name is Jay Pontius. I'm here on behalf of the International Bureau for Identifying Superhumans, which is under Andrew Vernon's new agency, the Federal Agency of the Legislation and Control of Outstanding Humans. I'm here on behalf of the Cape Registration Act. I'm sure you've heard about it and it has been mentioned to you, considering that Bay City has been in discussion of becoming a safe house for superhumans and metahumans. But it is in coordinates with Mr. Vernon's, or President-elect Vernon's, jurisdiction that we are going to indeed be registering all super and metahumans so we can identify them in the future.
And what does this have to do with me?
Well, I believe that you do have access to communication with one Malkir, one Lutra, and one Anton, who have previous ties to your industry and several other people with abilities.
So, because I've been in contact with 3 people who saved the city a couple of times, I am the target for all of this?
No, I just believe that you would be able to make my life and the life of Mr. Vernon and everyone else on this staff at IBIS, you would make our lives a little easier in helping us make sure this regulation is carried out very effectively.
Look, Mr. Pontius, I respect that you have a job to do, but I'm not going to give you the contact information from people who may want to remain private.
I'm not asking you for their information. I don't need their information, because what you're going to do is you're going to be able to provide that communication to them. And he pulls out a little envelope from inside his little bag that he's carrying, and well, actually 3 envelopes. One is notated Lutra, one is notated Anton, one is notated Malkir. And he pulls out another piece of paper, and it's just basically a big form, and he's like, and Jay responds, each one of these envelopes contains just this little piece of paper. It is just a registration form, and all they need to do is register their names and their superhuman abilities. That way we are in knowledge of who is able to do what. That way, if there is an event of terroristic nature, we can more easily trace back any superhuman type destruction to the various individuals.
Well, I appreciate the efficiency of the president-elect. I haven't been in contact with Mr. Wolf or Mr. Malkir in some time. I can't guarantee that I'll be able to get that to them.
I can guarantee you'd probably be able to get it faster than I would.
Fair enough. As for Lutra, there's a possibility he's still in the building. If you want to find him and hand it to him yourself, be my guest.
I will leave this other form here, just in case you come in contact with any other superhumans. Remember, this is just part of the regulation. It is part of Mr. President-elect Vernon's vision that all superhumans are not restricted, but we just know of them. so we can help protect where protection is needed.
Tom, Dr. Case just sort of gives you a half-hearted smile, nodding his head, and it's very easy to tell that he is just nodding the lip service. He's playing the part of going along with it because going along with it is easier in the short term than actively opposing it, and you can tell that for free. But you can definitely tell that he's not jumping hoorah at the sight.
Jay rummages through his bag a little bit more, and noting that Dr. Casey is playing stubborn and everything, decides to give him a little one-up on this all, and he says, "Oh, by the way, Thomas, I meant to tell you that Ben sent his regards."
He just glares at you. And what exactly is the government doing talking with an 18-year-old college freshman?
We are further along in this process than you would believe, and we've questioned quite a few people, and there was an incident, if I recall,
He sighs heavily at that.
at Villanova University involving Ven. So we decided to question him because, well, it's quite the event for a random 18-year-old to survive.
Sometimes people get lucky with people being in the right place at the right time.
Although I do have to say, it is odd because he said there was 4 compatriots there, but the fourth he mentioned we have absolutely no record of.
He looks legitimately confused as you mention that. Okay. If there was a 4th, I definitely have no idea who or what that would be.
Well, as I said, here's an extra form. Make as many copies as you need.
Fair enough. Is there anything else I can assist you with?
That will be all for now.
I assume you're going to be staying in town for the foreseeable future?
I am charged with making sure that the CRA is carried out in all of Bay City.
You quite possibly are going to be the most hated man in the city. And that is saying something.
That's okay. I'm used to being hated.
Fair enough.
And with that, he sort of just throws the flap over his bag, walks out, walks by Hunter, It's good to meet you, son. And continues walking. Does like a quick double take because he swears he saw something else in the living room there, but doesn't think about it and just walks to the elevator.
All right. Quick question: how did Jay arrive to Stormbreaker Tech?
You mean how did I decide to go there, or how did I physically get there?
How did you physically get there?
Uber, Lyft, take your pick.
Okay, fair enough. That is the answer I was looking for. I wasn't sure if it was a ride share, a taxi, a chartered limo service, or rental car. Uber or Lyft, that works for me. Okay.
Why, are you going to make me roll a percentile to see if the Uber left without me?
No.
So, hold on a second, though. When Jay gets to the elevator, he would hear a door open. And definitely hear somebody walking towards the kitchen area.
Jay actually was not there with any intention on interacting with Lutra or Malkir or Anton, so he didn't really care if they were there or not.
That's fine, but I'm just saying, you see him walking over towards the kitchen. And he clearly either does notice you and doesn't care, or doesn't notice you.
So the next panel we get after that is just a cut back to Dr. Casey's office, where he just takes all of the envelopes, throws them in the trash, opens his desk drawer, lights a match, and lights the garbage on fire.
So Lucha walks back.
I was hoping to give Malkir his, so he could pretty much do the same thing.
Right. So Lucha walks back in. Here's the elevator doors kind of closes. Looks out like, I wonder who that was. Whatever. It's because he goes back into his room holding exactly like half of a very small sandwich. Like it's like ham on pieces of bread, and that's basically it.
Okay, hold on. The most important question we need to ask. Is there ketchup on this sandwich?
Oh, heck no, there's no ketchup on this sandwich.
Okay, good. Lutra can stay.
Heck no, there's no ketchup on this sandwich.
Editor's note. See Middleton City Comics, Volume 3. Editor's note number 2. Cham's a monster.
In fact, there's a half slice of tomato on it. Like real, actual tomato. Not
so
ketchup.
Fancy.
Oh, yeah.
So, shift back to Kestrel. You had the conversation with Lutra. He went back into the room. Do you leave before Jay Pontius goes back out, or are you sticking around? You do have permission to stay there.
Well, first and foremost, as Lutra kind of goes back into his room after he's patted Kestrel condescendingly on the head, he's kind of gonna look after him. He's got that open mouth, look, and once the door kind of closes, he's gonna kind of fold his arms and just kind of look around. This place sucks. He is going to stay around just a little bit, though. One, because he's so frustrated and doesn't know where else to go. And two, on the off chance that maybe one of the other guys walks in and they're actually, motivated.
Oh, right.
Which means you would see Lucha, walking back into the kitchen again.
Yeah.
Right, which would really frustrate him more. Is he's not doing anything. Just eating a sandwich.
So, Lutra makes a sandwich. which is probably like a one-off comic episode somewhere.
No. This
Editor's note. Yeah, editor's note. It really isn't. We're not that desperate.
No. Not only that, but it's like the simplest of things, and as I said, it's like only half of one, because that's all he's grabbing.
So at this point,
Actually, hold on a second. Kester, you looked right at him, right?
Yeah, I did.
Roll me a perception check real quick.
Roger that. Perception.
Okay, you will notice one thing. His eyes before were his normal violet color. At the moment, they've actually turned a decent shade of red as he's walking back into his room.
Like the whites of his eyes are red, or like
no, the pupils.
Okay, so I can.
Or not the colored part.
Irises thing.
Yeah, thank you.
I got you. Bit odd, though he also doesn't know a lot about Lutra's powers, so maybe it's part of being a superhero, but noted.
So after this happens, as I said, I was going to do the scene, so this happens, and then you see Lutra, and then all of a sudden, for reference here, I'm going to pull up the picture again. Kid about 12, 13 years old, you can't really tell because you're a squirrel, comes running in and just sees you, and there's more than just otters?
There are kids here too?
Can you play video games?
I guess? What do you do here?
I live here? What are you doing here?
Looking for heroes.
Well, I mean, there's the one that is in that room, and then there's the ones that used to... And he looks sad as he points to the empty rooms of Malkier and Anton. And he looks even sadder as he looks at Lutra's room, and... No, there aren't any here.
Yeah, that's what I'm figuring out. What happened here?
Just all of a sudden, I mean, they came back and they came back to what they said they were going to do, and I was finally up walking around again after forever. And after that, things just sort of changed. Everyone, Anton left, Malkier left, and then slowly, I think I made Lutra mad because he hates me. He doesn't talk to me, doesn't cook, doesn't hug me anymore. By the way, Lutra, make a perception check. Because Hunter's not being quiet. Oh, you hear the speech as he's giving it.
Casper would immediately feel really sad as Hunter talks about the stuff that Lutra doesn't do with him anymore. It's like, oh!
Also, the level of enthusiasm and energy kind of reminds you of a very specific somebody.
I mean, that's why it feels even worse.
Yep.
How could you do that to your boy?
How could you do that to your boy? Yeah, and then there's just this really look of depression on Hunter's face as he just sort of says that, sort of looks at the door and just turns back away.
Castro would have a moment of hesitation because he feels super bad about this, but he'd fly up to the kid and hover next to him, pat him on the back and say, "Hey, I'm sure it's gonna be okay."
Whoa! You're a flying squirrel?
What? Yeah.
That is so cool!
Isn't it?
What else can you do?
Well, I don't want to brag or anything, but let's see. See, do you have a ball or something?
He looks around. I didn't do this. Okay, you didn't see me do this. And this sort of silvery substance appears from his fingertips and coalesces into a ball. You've never seen this before. Editor's note, nanotech. And he hands you a perfectly round nanotech marble.
Huh. Are you a metahuman too?
Kind of. I mean, it was either this or not wake up ever again.
Probably a better choice.
Yeah. This is a sort of unintended side effect. I can do some other things too, but I'm not really supposed to.
That's okay. I won't make you do anything. But this ball though that you made, go ahead and just take it and throw it as far as you can across the room there.
So he's seen that you can fly, and he really wants to see what you can do. So there is an open window across the room. He picks up the ball in his hand, and using the nanotech propulsion that he has, he chucks that thing out the window on a straight beeline, through the skyscrapers of the city, probably 800-900 feet away.
900 feet away.
He basically used nanotech blast to just shoot the marble. Just
okay, that's impressive.
Yeah, and he just sort of looks, and then he looks really sheepy and goes, I got a little excited.
So 900 feet away. I can fly at 60 miles per second. How fast can I reach that thing?
You're there, and you're at the marble and back before he lifts his head up from the sort of I got a little excited, the rubbing in the toe in the dirt thing. Before he's done rubbing his toe in the dirt, you're
okay. So as he's doing that, I just kind of casually nudge him and say, "Here's your ball back," and I drop it in his hand.
You're just like Eric.
Who's Eric?
He was the guy who kept me powered when. Anyway, you two. No. You. He's like, no. You two definitely. No, I can't do that. I can't. No. He just starts saying no over and over again. No, I can't do that. But that's
spit it out.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I used to be faster. I could go faster if I wanted, but I didn't want to show off too much. But
wait a second. I think you remind me of something I read once on the internet. It was a comic book or something. It was this ridiculously fast squirrel, and then some kid was with him, and there was only ever one issue of it though. What happened to that? He's triggering your something to prove complication and triggering a bunch of flashbacks right now.
Right.
So take a hero point as the 13-year-old unintentionally makes you feel worse than he was feeling as he just brings all of these memories flooding back to the forefront.
It's there's no comic. You're just mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Man, it stinks around here.
Might be your otter friend. He smells like raspberries.
Raspberries? This goes up, Lutra! Why do you smell like raspberries? The squirrel says you smell like raspberries.
At that, Lutra, opens his door, peeks his head out, and says, I don't smell like strawberries. Or raspberries. He sniffs his fur on purpose.
Yeah, well, something coming from you does.
By the way, Kestrel, give me another perception check.
Yay, perception checks.
Actually, I'm going to roll Hunters, too.
Do that. Well, only because Hunter wouldn't have seen it before.
But Hunter knows Lutra enough to...
Right. So, now his eyes are back to his violet color, and he looks way more focused than he did before.
Yeah. So, Hunter notices the hyper-focus.
Okay. It's like strawberries. Or raspberry. Lutra kind of pads out to the outside. Looks at you and says, You're still here?
Yeah, I am. I was kind of hoping a real hero would show up. You seen one?
Me too.
Hey.
Hey, what? He's looking at you like, hey? For the past 3 months, all you've been doing is being stuck in there, not saying anything, not doing anything. Are you mad at me or something?
Of course not. I'm just busy.
With what? You haven't done anything.
I'm still working on it.
Working on what?
My music.
You can take time out of your music. It doesn't need to be everything you do.
This does. This is really important.
Yeah. So was I at one point, too. He just walks off very, very upset and depressed.
Richard just kind of watches him walk off, shrugs, says, he'll understand when it's done.
Castro watches after Hunter walking away and looks at Lutra. Like he's kind of like just one of those, well?
Jude curiously says, well, what?
Aren't you going to do something?
About what? There's nothing going on.
About that kid!
What, Hunter? He's fine.
Yes! He's clearly not fine.
Of course he's... You didn't see him before. He's fine.
So you could at least apologize.
What? He's taking things way too strangely. I'm not upset with him at all. I don't know why he keeps thinking that.
You don't even hug him anymore.
And that's a great line to scene shift on. So, Mr. Pontius, you have got back in your Uber and have made your way back to whatever accommodations they have put you up in. So go ahead and describe said accommodations.
I don't know. It's probably just a Marriott hotel or something.
Oh, right. Fair enough. So
I'll take my check in the mail.
I don't work for the hotels anymore. So you make your way back, and you know, they still want you to be comfortable, so it's less a Marriott. It's at least one of the suites, because you're going to be here a while. So you're back there probably 20 minutes. And, well, Malkir, why don't you explain how you've arrived?
Well, judging by seeing Mr. Pontius get out of his vehicle, Malkir had trailed around and put a tracer on the back of it, and he tailed the vehicle back to the hotel.
So, yeah, so he's going to get back to the hotel first, obviously, because he's in the car, and you kind of want to see where he's going. So are you going up to the room, or are you just figuring out the hotel where he...
I'm just casing the joint out for now. I'm making sure I know where he is and for future contact, possibly.
Okay. So if you would like to approach the hotel and do that, we certainly can. If not, I will scene shift into something else.
Well, yeah, I'm going to follow him and make sure I know like what room he's in and all that kind of...
Yeah, he is up on the 6th floor in room 619, which is a suite.
I am going to pick the lock on the room next to his. And,
Okay, roll me a stealth check. Give me a set of numbers like 1 to 5, 6 to 10, a grouping of 5 numbers in a d20.
we'll go 6 to 10.
Well, good news, you made me waste a crit. Better news, it was an unoccupied room.
Well, I mean, even if it was occupied, I don't think that would really stop me, but...
Right, but if it's occupied, the scene's different.
So, I would go into said room and tap the wall, like, leading to his room to hear through it, just in case he makes any phone calls or whatever.
Odds or evens?
Odds.
Okay, that's back-to-back crits I've rolled. So unfortunately, you do not get the connecting door that some suites have.
Well, I can tell you by experience, hotel room rolls are rather thin.
Oh, trust me, I know. I worked in a hotel for a couple of years. So you were in there, and it's sitting down. It's not that hard to listen. Jay, this is going to be a really weird question, but what's happening in your hotel room?
Jay is laying on the bed watching CSI.
Who are you? Who?
Well, it's got to be at least CSI Miami for the dude with the puns.
Oh no! It's the marathon episode where it starts off in CSI and then goes to CSI Miami because they're introducing Horatio Caine.
Oh God!
Ooh.
I mean, everyone needs a little David Caruso. I don't have sunglasses to put on.
Honestly, he wouldn't be doing anything else because his role there is very specific and it has nothing to do with in-hotel tasks.
Oh, right. So this has all been sort of going on. It's all been sort of like early to mid-morning stuff. So noontime comes around, and you're all going to get this. So the TV, so basically, Jay, you're going to get this from watching the TV. Malcu, you're going to get this from listening in across the room. And Kestrel, you're going to get this because the TV is still on in the office. Lutra, you're going to get this because the TV is still on in the office barracks. So for those of you who can see the picture of the television, this very, very well put together woman in a absolute knocker of a power suit is standing at a podium in front of for anyone who's been to Bay City recognizes the building. It is the tallest building in the city, the Viridian Towers, or Tower, I should say. And you can even see where we are in relation to Stormbreaker Tech because it's over there in the corner of the picture. So this podium in front of it, and, well, this is the woman you see. The short, kempt, black hair, full power suit at the podium with a press conference happening.
For a second, I thought it was Mrs. White from the Clue movie.
I thought the exact same thing.
It does have that. This for those of us who are wondering who this actually is, I grabbed a picture that is one of my personal favorite actresses from the TV shows I've seen. This is the lovely Miss Trisha Helfer. Many of you might know her as Caprica 6.
That's why I know her face.
Okay.
For those who've seen BSG. So, she is sort of there, and she goes, I apologize for those of you who might be in the middle of watching something. Yes, we have worked out a deal to override fees. Not because of anything malicious, but everyone here in the city has a right to know what's going on here and the next step of Viridian Incorporated's weather and energy project. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Carla Bryce. I am the CEO of Viridian Incorporated. Most of you do know what we do. You see our weather drones around the city all the time. They give you the most up-to-date information on weather and traffic so that you can choose the best route to get where you need to go. But we're looking to do much more than just give you weather and traffic information. So the next phase of our weather and energy project is going to be reaching its conclusion soon. And this is a formal invitation to the city to come witness. In a week's time, Viridian Incorporated will be launching an energy gathering satellite. This satellite will be able to collect not just the energy and radiation given off from the sun, but also radiation given off from other cosmic bodies, transfer that into usable energy, and beam it down to the tower so it can be converted to energy that we can use down here on the surface. In addition, it will allow us to monitor weather patterns not just here in Bay City, but around the world. Now, I know some of you are going to be a little nervous about this. This is why we are being transparent with this now. We couldn't be before because we wanted to make sure everything was proper and ready to go before we took the next step. But we are here to be transparent. If there are any questions at all that you would like to ask, go right ahead and ask them. And we will give the answers to the best of our ability that's not going to give out any trade secrets. And the rest is just a bunch of, random Q&A, mumbo jumbo. Several different people asked different variations of, quote, isn't that just a giant space laser? And every single one of those is rebuffed with, no, it is not a giant space laser. It is an energy collecting satellite.
I wanted to be a giant space laser.
But for the most part, this entire thing goes rather quickly. The one last thing of note is as Lutra and Kestrel are watching this back at the base, Hunter has made his way back down. And basically, as he comes sort of down, she's giving a speech, he walks in, and his face goes, we zoom in comic panel of his face that is white as a sheet. He is pale. Which is impressive considering he's under constant healing from nanotech.
Right. So, Lutra's in the room for this then, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so Lutra...
his face is pale and his jaw is on the floor, just
Lutra looks over him and says, Hunter, what's wrong?
And he just looks at the TV and goes, Mom?
Your mother works for Viridian Tech?
Your mother's alive?
He can't really speak because he's in shock. He is 100% certain he is staring back at his mother on the screen, who, for all intents and purposes, everyone thought was dead.
Lucha actually sees this obviously and starts making his way very quickly up towards Dr. Casey's office. And as he runs past Kestrel, he says, "Hey, keep an eye on him for a sec."
Right, will do.
So he goes up to Dr. Casey's office and knocks.
No answer.
Dr. Casey, you there?
No answer.
Peter, is Dr. Casey around here?
The doctor left about a half an hour ago. Said he had a couple of phone calls to make.
Can we call him?
We absolutely can call him.
Great. Get him on the phone.
Yes?
Tom, it's Lucha.
Oh, you've decided to come out of your hovel.
Whatever. Look, have you seen what's on the TV?
No, should I?
Well, yeah. So there's this lady CEO of that other corporation with the big tower.
Carla?
Yeah, she was talking and whatnot about some weather satellite thing they're going to shoot up into space to draw power for the sun. I didn't really understand any of that, but whatever, doesn't matter. Hunter was standing...
You just hear this, oh, they're actually going through with that. The balls on them.
Yeah, apparently, whatever. But that doesn't matter. Hunter was standing in front of the TV. He saw her and looked at the screen and said, Mom.
Sorry, what?
He says that lady who was on the TV is his mother.
Wendy is dead.
That's what everyone else told me.
For 6 years.
Yeah, he says he's very certain. And considering, everything in his head right now, I kind of believe him.
Well, this complicates matters, doesn't it?
I don't know, does it?
Yeah.
She'd like to know her son's not in a coma anymore.
That's the least of my concerns.
Oh. Okay.
I'll be back to the tower in 10.
Great!
While he's getting ready to hang up the phone with Lutra, he's getting a phone call from Jay.
What do you want?
Have you been watching the TV?
Yes. Apparently Viridian finally decided to go ahead with their, as they're calling it, energy collection satellite.
Do you believe that would make this whole situation a hub for superhumans?
He chuckles at the use of the word hub, even though Jay's not gonna get it, but he definitely laughs. And take a hero point for the pun because I approve. Well, it's going to do one of two things. It's going to make this a center of a whole lot of hell, or we're about to all become prisoners of the Viridian Corporation.
Well, then we might want to be getting moving on the CRA. Because not only will it allow us to know who's who, but it will also give us contacts in case we need them.
Hey, you seem to have access to even more information than I do, which is impressive. Can you look into something for me? Relevant to our current discussion.
I can certainly try.
Can you look up any and all information you can find on a Wendy Barlow? Barlow.
Oh, you mean like Hunter's last name?
Yes, I do. You did your homework, didn't you?
Why would I come here if I didn't? I know you all too well. You would have swamped me with linguistics if I came here uneducated.
Fair enough.
I'll see what I can do.
And then he goes, as he's going to hang up the phone, he goes, "Oh, by the way," and we get a comic panel shift, but I'll type to you what he says to you. Yeah, we get a comic panel shift, so hold on a second. So the comic panel shift is going to be Dr. Casey arriving back at Stormbreaker Tech.
So in the barracks, I believe Lucha would have actually sat Hunter down on like one of the sofas, just to be like, calm down. He actually does seem to have his arm around Hunter's shoulders, but he's doing so in a way that's like, I'm not going to, like, he's not hugging him, and like, doesn't have himself in a position to be hugged by Hunter, more specifically. But he's got an arm around the kid's, like, shoulder, just to be, like, trying to calm him down, because he's clearly agitated. Although Lucha...
Wouldn't you be if you just saw a live shot of your mother who you thought was dead for 6 years?
I wouldn't actually know, because I don't know my...
I would assume... theoretical.
Right. So anyway, yeah, it's kind of like Lucha's not saying anything, although Hunter won't notice this, but Kestrel, you'll notice this easily. He very much so is continuously going through his head and clearly, like, keeping track of time. And he clearly is impatient, but he is sitting there being with Hunter through this.
Castro will probably he would definitely pick up on that and find it a little bit odd, but he like at least be satisfied that like somebody's here to help comfort Hunter. He would sit with them though and like be lightly to the side of Hunter and try to like offer a consoling word every once in a while as well. Like it's gonna be fine. Like, might not even be your mom. Like, maybe she just looks like her.
The moment you start saying that, Lucha just looks directly at you, just like, shut up.
So, before we get more into we just get this adorable comic panel of a very clearly distraught child sitting in between what amounts to 2 life-size stuffed animals on the couch. It is, like, if you just rip this comic panel out and post it, it is the most adorable picture ever. Just, like, no words, no nothing, just sitting there, like, tears sort of coming down, and just Lutra and Kestrel on either side on the couch, and, like, it is just the aww panel. And then we move on to the next page, and it's like, why? Why didn't she come find me?
Well, if it is your mother, which you seem very confident in, so I'm going to go with that. Maybe there was a reason. I mean, there's...
Why? Why would someone just get their kid?
Well, I don't know if she knows you're actually, like, not in a coma. And we kept hearing she was dead, or at least that's what Dr. Casey said the one time I asked about her.
I've seen medical records. That's what they say, too. Remember. He also goes, remember, I was hooked up to the internet for 5 years.
Right. Yeah, right.
Which, for the record, what's Kestrel's reaction to that line?
Kids and their phones. No, he's like, literally?
If he asks that out loud, Lucha would look right at him and say, yeah, literally.
At this point, this is the first time you've heard it. The computer AI will speak up. Yes, very much literally. But now because he's here, I have a job.
You guys have a talking computer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Hunter just looks and goes, you don't?
I don't really have a hideout.
It turns out it's not really that common, fortunately.
You don't have some, like, cool tree fort?
Yeah, tree fort's kind of art in vogue in the city anymore.
Oh, nuts.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so we're going to shift scenes again, back to the Marriott suites. So, we already got Jay's reaction to calling. Malkir, what are you doing with this information about the totally not a space laser?
So Malkir kind of got Jay's side of the conversation, so he's still a little confused as to exactly what was happening. But judging by what was on TV, he's kind of know that stuff is going down, to use the PG phrase, and that's most likely not going to be a good situation for anyone.
At this point, you sort of, in the comic panel, see a bubble coming from the other side. And it's Jay saying to the lady, okay, I'm really sorry for the inconvenience, but I'm probably going to need to come down and discuss at the service desk. But I'll be right down so we can discuss. And he grabs his card key and heads towards the elevator to go down to the lobby.
So, Malkier, Jay has left to go down to the lobby. What do you do?
I'm going to go out the window and make my way down through the outside.
Okay. As a formally trained assassin, you can rappel down the window. Not a problem.
And I'm just going to keep an eye on the entrance of the building to see if he actually comes out or not. I'm going to go like across the way and survey the building.
Okay. Jay, what do you do once you get in the elevator?
I head down to the lobby, and I go up to the service counter, to the girl that I was just speaking with on the phone, and I mentioned to her that I will have to be changing hotels because of some stuff that came up with the agency that they want to move me closer to this Viridian Inc. So I will have to be changing hotels. So I'll have to check out early.
Not a problem. She goes, are you sure? Is it just that, or is this something that we did that we can fix in the future?
Oh no, you guys have been wonderful. I mean, okay, yes, the faucet leaked and it dripped and it was annoying, but that's very, very little. You guys were more than courteous, and I appreciate the stay, but I do have to move a little bit closer to Viridian.
Understood. We appreciate you giving us the consideration of staying here.
Oh, well, thank the government.
At the phrase of "thank the government," she sort of gives you you notice she's being pleasant because she has to be, but you definitely notice an eye roll.
And as he walks away, he kind of gives a smirk and he's like, "Trust me, darling, I feel the same way."
So Malkier hears none of that because he was across the way, or is he in the lobby?
Well, no, he would be across the way, so he wouldn't hear that.
All right, so you hear none of that. You just see him talking to the front desk, and I assume you returned to your room to gather up your things?
Well, no, I had taken it with me.
No, I meant Jay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I go up, gather up my things. I walk back down with my key card. Inside the little slip is a note that says, "Sorry for the troubles. Honestly, it wasn't you," wrapped around a $100 bill that he hands back to the receptionist. And also,
seriously, thanks the government.
Also, at the bottom there is his phone number.
She thanks the government, then furiously rolls her eyes again.
And then he walks out, but he sets out on foot to the local Starbucks or whatever the coffee joint is.
I mean, sure, there's a coffee joint. West Coast roast.
Sounds like a comedy bit.
They do hold roasts every Thursday night.
Okay, he goes up, orders a large black coffee.
Oh, I was expecting something much more pretentious.
No. For reasons, it's a large black coffee.
For a reason.
But yeah, he just takes the coffee and goes and sits down at a table facing the doorway and just drinks his coffee while pulling out a notebook and just jotting down some notes.
Malkir, you see all of this happen. What do you do?
Malkir is going to enter the coffee shop and sit down across from him, and just kind of put his arm on the table and just kind of give him the eye.
Well, I'll give you for free. You definitely recognize who this is. You have plenty of news articles. Okay.
I act like I don't see him.
So we just have this comic panel of, to contrast the absolute adorableness of the couch, we have the this coffee table where you have Jay just sitting there sipping his coffee, ignoring Malkir, while Malkir is sitting there kind of staring a hole through him, and even through the comic panel, you can feel the tension.
So Malkir would clear his throat. I know you know who I am. Casey told me I was watching you, didn't he?
No, you pretty much just ratted yourself out.
Yeah. I know what I was doing. But I have a feeling that Casey probably let on.
Nah, actually he didn't. Actually, he has something for you, so you might want to stop back and talk to him.
No, I'll be talking to him, trust me.
Oh, I'm sure you will. That's why I gave it to him.
I'm not interested in your little agenda. What I am interested in, however, is your boss.
My boss? What does Stanley Harris have to do with anything?
You know who I'm talking about. Don't play stupid.
No, actually, Stanley Harris is my boss. If you're talking about the one who implemented the policies, which would be President-elect Vernon, that's an entirely different story, and I can tell you I know jack crap about him because I don't talk to him.
Is that so?
Yeah. Trust me. I want to talk to him about it. Well, actually, you probably want to talk to him more because you probably want to beat his face in.
Beating his face in would be the least of his issues, so let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, the only reason I'm here is to help implement his policies. I don't directly talk to him. I don't directly answer to him. Anything that I do is reported to Senator Harris, and it goes from there.
So you're trying to tell me you know nothing? And you
So yeah, I know quite a bit of stuff, but I don't know what you want to know.
Well, let's put it this way. What do you know about Vern that may not be public knowledge?
Here is a list of things that I know about Vernon. He won the presidential election. He's due to be sworn in about 2 months. And he is notorious for heading the new Falcon and Ibis coalitions. So, given what I know about you, I would suggest once again that you talk to Mr. Casey and consider signing the papers that I gave him.
As I said, I'm not interested in your little petition.
It's not a petition, and I would strongly suggest you doing it.
Well, I can strongly suggest, and that's when the comic book would cut to black.
I can strongly suggest black panel. All right, let's shift back to the barracks. At this point, Dr. Casey has arrived back and sees the somewhat adorable stuffed animals scene. And he just sort of looks like he hits the button. He first immediately goes up to Hunter. Are you okay? Just sort of gets the, why would she? I don't know. We're going to figure it out, though.
As Dr. Casey comes in and gets closer, Lucha immediately takes his arm off. So one, seemingly so Dr. Casey can get closer, and two, kind of scoots away a bit.
Castro gives them some space as well, kind of thinking they need it, their family.
So he does the whole, I'm not going to RP a scene with myself because that's a little weird and completely irrelevant. So he just sort of picks up the controller and goes and fast forward and rewinds and gets the video and just is sort of looking. And you can see him staring and squinting. And I mean, kind of looks like Wendy. And Hunter just looks and goes, no, Dad, it is. I know. He just looks and goes, how?
I would assume it has something to do with the nanotech in his head.
He just smiles and goes, no, not exactly.
Oh.
It's small, but you have to know where to look. And at this point, he goes up because it's a giant touchscreen and just zooms in and just zooms in until literally the only thing on the screen is her eye. I mean, it's a giant eye.
My
We're
goodness.
just standing there that's a little uncomfortable, just saying.
My gosh.
It's really high def, though.
It is. I am jealous of this television.
Right, so now with the fact that you were zoomed into the eye, you now notice something that you couldn't notice before. Because we've been talking about irises. We've got iris and ibis tonight, everybody. Get those in. You see, it's very small, obviously, but zoomed in, you can see it. Oh, God, there's a giant eye in the Discord. It's really creepy.
Yeah.
So, in her eye, you didn't notice before because you thought they were really dark brown. These are actually, her eyes are almost black. But specifically in the iris, you see a little design, in the iris. And it is a pentagram inside of a heart.
How
and
did you see that?
And that pentagram in the heart is actually a very deep azure blue. The same blue that Hunter has in his eyes, but those are full color.
Huh.
And he goes, because I knew where to look.
Yeah, that would be a very specific place to look.
Yeah.
And Casey just looks and goes, and how did you know about that? And Hunter just sort of looks and goes, reaches into his pocket, takes a selfie, zooms in on his eye. Same spot, same thing, but instead of being blue, it's black.
That's like reverse.
That's how I know. Like some weird birthmark.
Oh.
That's a very strange birthmark.
You can have a birthmark in your eye?
Apparently.
Yeah, it's shaped specifically like a pentagram?
With the heart?
Inside a heart.
Okay. I'm just gonna say something here. That's a little weird. Okay? Just gonna throw that one out there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hunter just looks at you. After all the stories you've told me of the stuff that you've done and you've seen, this is weird?
Yeah, this is weird. He doesn't look at all confused by that statement at all. Like, yeah, that's weird.
You said you went to the future.
No, we did.
Whether or not that's true or not, but you said you went to the future. You said you fought an exact duplicate of yourself. Yet the fact that I've got a little tiny heart-shaped stamp in my eye, that's weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
Wait. Future? Duplicate?
Yeah, that all happened.
Well, he says he went to the future. He can't prove it.
Well, I mean, no.
I mean, if he really went to the future, he'd be able to go buy a lottery ticket and we'd know the winning numbers.
It was 15 years in the future. I didn't check the lotto.
Unless it's Back to the Future logic. In that case, he could have done that thing where he jumps over the timeline and creates a shockwave.
Not to mention that whole future timeline was aborted. I guess that's what Dr. Casey called it.
That makes perfect sense. Sort of.
Well, it's because we killed Kismet and everything she did disappeared and the whole future time just crumbled. I think Anton kind of tried to explain it to me. I didn't. All I know is we destroyed Kismet and everything just is changing from that day forward. So, whatever.
Casey just looks at you and goes, you would think that with the entire story you've told me, that there would be some sort of recollection. There isn't. Are you sure you don't want to talk to anybody about this?
I did. I talked to you. I talked to Hunter. I talked to Ben.
I meant a professional.
I mean, you're a professional, aren't you?
Yes, but I'm not a psychologist.
Well, why would I need to talk to a psychologist?
I am so glad that he's actually like this. I thought he was being sarcastic with me.
I don't think Lutra does sarcastic. Hunter's like,
Clearly
no,
not.
yeah, he definitely doesn't do sarcastic.
I feel much better now.
What's sarcasm? Whatever.
At this point, Dr. Casey looks at both of you and goes, I'm going to ask a favor.
You talking to...
Castro and
included
Lutra.
in both of you?
Right. Lucha kind of gives a short hesitation. Sure, of course. What?
Castro nods as well. What's up?
I need you two to go take a look at the Viridian Tower.
Oh, that was easy. Lucha goes to the window and looks over towards the tower in the distance. There it is.
That's not exactly what I meant.
Oh.
Castro smiles and actually kind of looks at Casey and he says, so he wants to take some action, is what you're saying.
I want you to go and see if you can get any information on... He looks at the freeze frame and unzooms the eye at this point because it's been there the entire time. Of my ex.
What's her name?
Well, I knew her as Wendy Barlow. She's calling herself now Carla Bryce.
Okay, so we just have to sneak in the tower then?
Oh no, not sneak in the tower. I'm gonna get you a meeting.
A meeting?
Well, yes, a meeting. That will get you in the door. And if my cameras are correct, one of the two of you is able to get in and out of places very, very quickly.
If your cameras are that good, I'm very impressed. And you're right.
I mean, I can always just sneak in, too.
Blurs are a thing. And Hunter's like, yeah, he can. He totally can.
So, what are you talking about? Whatever.
Oh, here, let me show you. And Hunter picks up the marble again and just chucks it out the window. This time it doesn't go nearly as far because his father's there and he's not using his powers in front of Dad.
Kestrel sighs for a second before, his little flaps glow and he gets the ball before he can even see it and just kind of puts it back in Hunter's hand.
See? Told you.
Okay, that was...
He looks at Lutra and goes, doesn't he kind of remind you of Eric a little bit?
Oh, God.
I'm not sure if I want to be associated with this Eric person.
You don't.
Casey looks and goes,
you really don't. You don't.
"No."
You really don't.
Don't.
Absolutely no. No.
Definitely
Okay.
don't.
Nope. Don't wanna. Don't.
I can tell this is a touchy subject for you.
Editor's note. Last time Eric was involved, our GM nearly had a heart attack from going too hyper.
Yes, it did.
No, seriously. After that session, I had to walk around outside for 30 minutes to get myself
You
calmed
did.
down. I was that jacked up. Yeah, so, if this is what I think it is, and it's totally not a space laser, he looks and goes, it's totally a space laser.
I know.
What? Why would... Okay, so what would the point of building a space laser be?
Well, if you have a giant laser that's trained down on things from space, you're pretty much free to do whatever the heck you want because no one's going to be able to stop you.
But what if we got a really big shield?
Where exactly are you going to find one? And more importantly, how are you going to be able to construct it in a week's time?
I don't know. You got a lot of people on contract, right?
Lutra, how many times do I have to tell you this is a medical research facility?
I mean, we have guns on the roof. Do we still have guns on the roof?
I'm glad I didn't try to get into
We wanted to put those in last time, and I'm not sure if we ever actually did.
Okay, how many times has that roof been destroyed?
Lots!
Exactly. So no, we're not putting it in because you know what will happen, right? Is we'll put it in and Anton will show up in some monstrosity of who knows what the heck powers he's going to have next time we see him and just destroy the roof again.
Lucha kind of, as you say that, or as Dr. Casey says that, Lucha just kind of frowns and says, Anton's probably not coming back anyway, so what's it matter?
Besides, it'll do you good to get out of the barracks for a little bit. It's drinking way too many energy drinks.
I'm fine. Yeah, fine, I guess. Fine. This will be fine. I'll go do this. I didn't really need to sleep tonight anyway. Do you want me to go as Brandon, or do you want me just to walk in like this?
Oh, it's going to be tomorrow, because I'm going to call and set up a meeting, because they're going to need people who can stay up there and deal with the cosmic radiation they're going to be absorbing. Who better to volunteer than someone who can absorb cosmic radiation?
Wait. Huh?
You did say you had a cosmic origin.
No, I did. What are you? I'm not going in. I'm not going into space. Well,
No, but you are going in for a job interview.
Will they actually meet with us?
I don't want a job there.
If Viridian Incorporated does not at least take my call, it's going to be extremely bad publicity. They might be the, big, high and mighty corporation in town, but I have some clout. They'll at least listen. And, yeah.
But I don't want to work for them.
You don't have to work for them. You just need to make them think.
It's supposed to be a ruse.
Lucha kind of pads closer to Dr. Casey. Looks at her and says, Tom, do you know me to lie all that much? Because I'm not really good at it.
He just looks at you. Based on what I've seen the past couple of months, could have fooled me. And he walks away.
What are you talking about?
And we're going to scene shift back to the cafe. So, we got, the last time we saw, we had a black panel. What has happened in the interim?
Comes back, it's all red.
No, they're just all playing Scrabble.
Every...
You knew what was going to happen.
Malkir's up on stage with Jay and they're singing a duet.
You know what was going to happen. Q. Oh my gosh. Triple score.
All right. So, what has happened in the cafe?
Seeing that he was getting nowhere, Melchior would have left and gone to the safe house that Casey provided for him.
On the way out, one more time, Jay looks at Malkir. And
before he can even say it, Melchior just lifts his hand and just raises the middle finger and just keeps walking.
Well, before Malkir can walk out, and you're going to have to make a save on this, Jay says, go see Casey, sign the paper. And I'm using a hero point to use one of my advantages, which is ultimate effort. And I'm ultimate efforting my persuasion, which is a nat 20 now. Or it's a roll of a 20. So you have to make a DC 32 insight or will save.
That is 100% true. And with the hero point, I'll allow it. Oh! So you walk out as he's saying that, and you start to walk back towards the safe house, and then you're not sure why. And this is really weird for you, especially because you don't normally get this way. You don't normally let people's words get to you, but there's just something about how he said or what he said it, or something in the intonation that sort of led you to believe that there's something more that you can probably gain by heading back to Stormbreaker technology. And you definitely have the feeling that at least going back and making the effort, or making it look like you're doing the effort, will get you more information than your usual methods, which you're a little upset at yourself with, but as you well know, information is information.
Okay, well, so yeah, I would head back to the domicile.
So you walk in, and Hunter is still sitting there, and at this point has got the video games on. He is currently playing Street Fighter with Kestrel, and if Lucha wants to join, he certainly can.
No.
Aww.
So yeah, you see Hunter there playing video games with the 2-foot-tall flying squirrel. And I'm assuming you just walk past right to Casey's office?
I glance at the couch and just mutter two of them now and just shake my head.
Just the two of us. We can make it. Welcome to Bay City Chronicles, the musical episode, everybody.
You
Our
and
favorite.
I.
I will have to bribe several people with lots of things if I ever want to do the musical episode.
I am not one of those people.
Or it's going
He
to have
likes
to
to
be,
sing.
or it's going to have to be the week where both Crim and Dark are out.
We've had this discussion about karaoke, and yeah,
Yep.
Melchior does not karaoke.
Hey.
So yeah, as Malkir gets to Casey's office, Casey's phone rings.
You are starting to become very much a pain.
I'm assuming one Malkir is either with you or going to be with you in the very near future.
Yes, he just came into the barracks elevator. Why?
Because he happened to stop me in a coffee shop and was prying for information about President-elect Vernon, which I know nothing about other than the stuff everyone else knows about. But there might be a little bit of information here that he may find just as intriguing as the information I have for you.
And what would that be so I can at least dangle the carrot?
Well, first I'll dangle the carrot for you. So Wendy Barlow, when she was killed, she was taken to a crematorium, obviously to have her body cremated for what the remains were and everything else. And documentation was passed on to everything. I'm assuming that the remains were given to you.
At the time, I was estranged. I didn't even know at the time of the accident that I had a son.
Oh, well, then I'm not even really sure where her remains were given, but the documentation was there. But here's the interesting thing. Just in light of everything that happened today, we are going through the documentation and everything about the facility, and the facility actually was supposed to have gone bankrupt a year prior. There was something about a lawsuit with their mishandling of bodies they received and things like that, and they received a large sum of money by an individual that goes by the name Carla Bryce.
So what you're telling me is that she... And he stops for a second, and you don't see this, but in the comic panel, there's just this almost a rictus smile on his face as he just goes, clever. Oh, you clever girl.
But hold on. Here's the part that Malkir will want to hear. Since it was a loan meant to be paid back, the payback was not to Carla. The payback was the Gendine Industries.
And we get the wide-eyed Dr. Casey. And he just, well, that changes things, doesn't it? And just sort of hangs up. And as he hangs up, Malkir can walk in because that's a great timing for that.
So Malkir would walk in and sit down across from Casey.
I'm not sure what the hell he told you to convince you to come back here and sign that piece of paper.
Just give me it.
Note that I'm not going to submit it. And, oh, look, I only happen to have this. Because he burnt the envelopes. So he'll scan it real quick so he has the documentation. Because, again, he has to play along a little bit. But he will slide one of the things over. And it is a extremely generic government with real name, hero name, abilities, if any, costume design. Like, it's basically like, if you were to take notes as to how to design a hero 101, this would be the notepad you would use. Like, real name, hero name, description, gender, like costume, the whole shebang.
It's a mastermind character sheet.
No, it's more like a character sheet from a different game, but we're not going to mention that because we're not playing that one.
So Malkir would take it from Casey and put it on the counter and kind of read it over and fill it out as he was going. And the second he signs his name to it, would shake his head and then set it instantly on fire.
Well, that's certainly something. I thought I was the only one who did that. He just looks at the ashes in the trash can.
Casey, Jay isn't what he seems.
He smiles. Oh, I know, but he has good information.
Yes. But for him to compel me to do something that I would never do tells me something.
He must have one hell of a silver tongue. Also, I have some information, courtesy of our friend Mr. Pontius, that might be of interest and crosses paths from everything. So I'm assuming you saw the whole speech from Viridian, right?
Yeah, you could say that.
Well, Carla Bryce isn't who she's seeing. Carla Bryce, at least the last time I knew her, wasn't Carla Bryce. Last time I saw her, she was going by Wendy Barlow, which you know is Hunter's mom.
Yeah, so Malcolm would give the rock eyebrow at the mention of Barlow.
Apparently, she paid, or Carla Bryce paid to have Wendy Barlow's remains, and he says remains in quotation marks, brought to a crematorium, which apparently went under a year prior to this accident. But this money didn't get repaid back to Carla. It got repaid back to Jen.
So, Jendine again, huh?
Yeah. I think, and I know you're going to hate this suggestion, I think we need to introduce Mr. Pontius to some desert ruin, don't you?
Given what we don't know about him, are you sure that's wise?
Very much so. Because he didn't have to find the information on Wendy, but he did anyway. I think there's more to this.
I think that tells us that there's something behind the scenes pulling his strings more so than wanting to help us out. He's not the type to want to help us out, I can tell you that much.
You might be right on that, but he has stuck true to his word so far. And I'm willing.
Screwing with my mind.
Hey, if I have no control over that, if he was able to
smash the table and just stare him down.
If he was able to convince you with words alone to come and sign a piece of paper, then that's an impressive feat. Or maybe we're dealing with a telepath. But I get the feeling there's more to Mr. Ponty than meets the eye. And hey, look on the bright side. You'll be in the ruins of Utopolis. If he betrays you, no one's going to find a body buried in the desert.
No one would find his body anyway. And Malcolm kind of give like a little half smile at him.
So with that, Jay, your phone's going to ring this time.
And what do I owe this pleasure?
Well, your information, coupled with some information that I have, I've got a location I think you might be interested in visiting.
Something dealing with Jendai, no doubt.
Oh, absolutely. And I trust you won't mind if I send you with a chaperone.
I'll mind if he tries anything. I am sure that he's not too happy considering that I persuaded him to go sign the documentation that he no doubt did not finish and go through with.
Oh, he did exactly what you asked him to do. He signed all of the documentation. You did not ask him to submit it.
I didn't need him to submit it. You forget, the president works for Jendai. Why him signing that paper? Him signing that paper? It's already submitted.
You can submit ashes, absolutely.
Oh, I'm sure you're familiar with nanotechnology.
And that's going to be a fantastic closing line, because you're just going to get this look on Casey's face and the look on his face is like, wait a minute, I thought I was the only one with nanotechnology. And that's going to be where we're going to close the book, because that's a fantastic closing line. So, before we wrap everything up here, I want to thank everybody for sticking around, listening, watching. Again, this was Sanctuary City issue 1, picking up the pieces. Join us next week for issue 2, which is going to be It's So Totally Not a Space Laser. No, that's not the actual name of the issue title. But also, if you have not done so already, please keep yourself abreast of the situation on the BCC Twitter account, because you will notice we are minus a Nor'easter tonight, and at some point during the week, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Tuesday, but again, subject to change, there will be a solo session happening to get Anton back up into the mix. So keep an eye out on Twitter for that. The link is going to be posted here in the chat sometime soon for that. There we go. Look at that. So, again, keep your ears, eyes, snouts, muzzles, any other appendage that you may use on that. So, again, with that, thank you all very much for watching. Oh, real quick, some housekeeping notes. How about some 2 PowerPoints? Because awesome RP tonight, everybody. Again, so with that, thank you all very much for watching. And on behalf of the rest of the cast here at Bay City Chronicles, that would be Dark Falls, OPT Lawyer, Chameleon Ice, and Crimson Avex, thank you so very much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And of course, keep hailing. Later, fam.